What is stress and why do we need to manage it for strength training? Hey everyone, my name is Anand from Underdog Strength, and in my last video I talked about why I don't use or recommend pre-workouts before training. And one of my main reasons was that the stimulants in pre-workouts such as caffeine have been known to increase your stress and anxiety levels. So what is stress? Stress is how your body responds automatically to a physical, mental, or emotional stimulus. Stress is a regular part of our everyday lives, but the problem is that if we have too much stress, then this is not a good thing. And when it comes to strength training, you cannot get stronger without stress. You see, when we train, our body goes through a lot of stress. And then what happens is that when you rest, your body recovers from that stress and super compensates so that you make an adaptation by getting stronger. So without stress, you simply cannot get stronger. And stress applies to almost any type of fitness, whether it's physical strength or even if it's endurance. You have to, in order to make a change and adaptations, you have to incur a certain degree of stress. In strength training, this is known as the general adaptation syndrome, in which there's three components. There's stress, there's recovery, and then there's adaptation. And over time, as you become more advanced and stronger, you have to supply your body with more stress in order to make a further change. With that being said, all of us have a limited capacity to recover from stress. And stress is not only the training that you do, but stress comes from all areas of your life. So even if, let's say, you're training hard, but your stress from other areas of your life increases, such as, maybe you got a new job and that is really stressful, that's going to affect your training recovery as well. So when I talked about not using stimulants and pre-workouts, the reason for this was even if you don't work out and you consume a lot of stimulants, it is shown to increase your stress and anxiety levels. And then what they do is they allow you to train a little bit higher than you should. So let's say you train about this level without any pre-workouts and then you start taking stimulants, you might be able to train a little bit higher. But what that does is it artificially adds an extra level of stress on you. So when you train harder, your recovery requirements will also be higher. And like I said, we all have a limited capacity to recover from stress. So let's say you start training harder than you should, and in the short term, you may feel that this is really beneficial because you're training harder and you're providing your body with a greater stimulus for growth. But over time, what you will find is that your recovery capacity is still at the same level. And then if you start adding more and more stress, you will no longer be able to recover from it. And the other thing about stimulants and using pre-workouts is that they also affect your recovery ability because especially if you take stimulants like 6 to 8 hours near your bedtime, what will happen is that it's going to affect your sleep levels. And sleep is one of the biggest or the most powerful tools we have in terms of improving your recovery capabilities. And the best way I can explain this concept to you is from a concept that I originally learned from Mike Tuchscherer of Reactive Training Systems when I attended his seminar a couple of months ago. And Mike likes to use an analogy called the sink analogy. Alright guys, so please excuse my poor drawing, but I hope you can see this. So behind me what I have is, I've drawn a sink. Now the sink represents your recovery capacity. The water flowing into the sink from the tap is the stress flowing in. And the faucet or the drain is your recovery capacity. So in this example, you can see that as stress is flowing in from the tap, we are also getting rid of that stress through the drain that we have. And this is your recovery. So this is like a good example of a period of medium stress where your stress levels and your recovery levels are about the same. And this, you can see there's a fine balance where the sink is neither overflowing and it's not even empty. Now this is where you want to stay most of the time in your training. What happens when you start adding in more stress and more water starts flowing in? See, the size of the drain is still gonna be the same. That is your recovery capacity. But if you start adding with more stress, then ultimately your sink is going to overflow. If your water supply reduces and you're not providing a lot of stress, your sink will ultimately become empty. And this is also not very good because if your stress levels are too low, then this is not enough to disrupt homeostasis for your body. And you need a certain level of stress in order to disrupt homeostasis and make a change. Whether you want to increase your strength, or you want to increase your muscle mass, or whether you want to increase your endurance, or any other fitness goal that you may have. Now, the sink that you see represents your unique stress tolerance, and stress tolerance varies from person to person. And this sink or your stress tolerance depends on a lot of factors such as your overall lifestyle, your overall stress, your age, things like that. There's going to be differences between individuals. But for you, your sink size is set, and it usually doesn't change that much. But what you can change is how much stress you provided, and then how fast you can get rid of the stress. Now we discussed, stress it comes from all other sources, right? It's not just training, but in addition to training, you have other life stresses, and to some degree you can control this. But you can also control how you get rid of that stress. And some of the ways, and probably the top way to get rid of the stress is to improve your sleep quality. And that's the reason why I talk about sleep a lot on this channel. So, one of my reasons for not recommending pre workouts is that not only are you increasing the stress, but you're also reducing the size of the drain. And within a very short time, your sink will soon start overflowing. And when your sink starts overflowing, you won't be making much progress at all. In fact, your training will actually go backwards, and it can also increase the chances of injury and things like that. So, how do you manage stress when it comes to strength training? There's 5 things that I can recommend that you can do, and these things will not only reduce the amount of stress coming in, that is your sink, I mean the tap, but it's also going to increase the size of your drain, and thereby increasing your capacity to get rid of the stress. So the first thing is that you want to follow a program that is designed intelligently. A well-designed training program will have you train most of the time in a period of medium stress. And that is when, your sink is neither overflowing and it's not even empty. And this is the sweet spot that you want to stay in most of the time. Now, there might be some situations where, especially if you're an advanced athlete, that you have to go really high stress for a period of time. And in this case, a period of really high stress is followed by a period of really low stress. For the most part, you want to train somewhere between your maximum capacity to recover from stress and the minimum stress required to make a change. And some other names for this concept are MRV, that is your maximum recoverable volume, and your minimum effective dose of volume. The second tip and the second way you can manage your stress is, I already talked about, is you're managing your sleep. And you want to make sure that you get in quality sleep every single night. And if you want to track your sleep quality, there's a free app called Sleep Cycle, which I highly recommend that you use. The third way you can improve your recovery capacity is by optimizing your nutrition, and especially when it comes to your calories, because let's say you're in a caloric deficit and you're losing weight, your recovery capacity already goes down. On the other hand, when you're in a surplus, your recovery capacity will be higher. The fourth way is by improving your overall lifestyle. So you want to try to reduce your overall lifestyle stress as much as possible. And then one thing that has really helped me is I use meditation, and this has really helped me manage my overall stress from factors outside of the gym. And if you're not familiar with meditating, there's an app that I can recommend. It's called Calm. The fifth way you can manage your stress levels is by supplementation. And supplementation should only be considered if you've got all the other factors in place. For example, if you're not getting enough sleep and your overall lifestyle is stressful, or your overall training program is not well designed, then supplementation is going to do little to nothing to help you. But if you have all those things in check and you want to take things to the next level, then there's three supplements that can really help you. The first supplement is called magnesium, and it's if a lot of the population actually is deficient in magnesium, and if you're not sure, then I recommend getting your blood levels checked for your blood magnesium levels. But a large percentage of the population is deficient in magnesium, and magnesium has been shown to reduce your stress levels. The second supplement that helps me is called melatonin. Now, melatonin is a natural hormone that your body produces, and this hormone helps you fall asleep. It might, in some cases, it might be useful to supplement with melatonin, to help you fall asleep faster and improve your sleep quality. And the third supplement is called ashwagandha, which is an old Ayurvedic herb, but it's been shown in research to reduce stress. Basically, ashwagandha is an adaptogen, and an adaptogen simply means that it improves your body's capability to respond to stress. And if you want to buy ashwagandha, then I recommend using the KSM66 formula. There you have it, guys. That is why stress management is so important when it comes to strength training and fitness in general. And if you want to learn more about this topic, make sure to check out my article down in the description below, where I go into a lot more detail about this subject. I hope this was informative, and if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.